The most anticipated camera of the year from Leica has just been released, the Leica SL3-S. Today I'm going to be sharing some of the specs, but also my opinions on the camera and if I think it's worth the jump from an SL2 or SL2S. This Leica SL3-S has been something people have been looking forward to for a very long time, since before the release of the SL3 last year. And today it's here, and just as promised by the S line, this camera is very video heavy, but it's also got some upgrades to the photo side as well. One of the main upgrades on the photo side is it's got a faster processor. It's a 24 megapixel 4-frame sensor. It has phase detect autofocus like the SL3, but it is improved with 779 focus points on it. And I believe it also has some new firm software that will allow it to focus better and faster. Leica says that this is the fastest Leica camera yet, and I'm excited to get my hands on one and test it out and see if it's worth the jump from my SL2S to the SL3S. Along the photo lines, it has an extended ISO range from 50 ISO to 200,000 ISO. Now, if it's anything like the SL2S with the 100,000 ISO, then it's going to perform really well. As far as photos go, you get 30 frames per second shooting. There is the added CF Express port. So you have a SD card and a CF Express card in the camera, similar to the Leica SL3. As far as the design goes, it looks just like the SL3, but with the blacked out Leica on it. So following the same design guides as the previous generation. And I think it looks really nice. It's got the articulating screen. There's no flip out screen. So if that's something that you're looking for, it's just not in the system. The really exciting things come when you switch over to video. So you have open gate, which every camera should have open gate, but now it's in the Leica ecosystem, which is exciting. So if you want to shoot so that you can crop and post for vertical and frame for horizontal and vertical video, that is an option with the SL3S. Also, anamorphic lenses just became a whole lot easier to use. There is no de-squeeze with the anamorphics, so that's disappointing, but I think that with the 6K open gate, that is a step in the right direction for filmmakers. You have 6K recording at 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. And unfortunately, it's a 4K 60 crop. So it would have been nice to see a full frame 60 frames per second mode, but unfortunately, it is not in this system. There's so many videos out already talking about the specs of the SL3S, and I doubt you're here for the specs. I've been filming with my SL2S for 4 years at this point, and it's been a solid camera for me. If you are new to the channel, I have a SL2S and an SL2, and honestly, when I saw the SL3 release, there were things I was excited about. There were things that, like the stacked sensor, that are really cool and exciting, but I knew that it wasn't enough of a jump for me to really change the way that I shoot. And even with the SL3S, I'm looking at my SL2 and my SL2S, and I'm kind of like, these are still incredible cameras. Just because a new camera is released doesn't mean that your current system is automatically worse. They're still going to perform at the same level as they did before this camera was released. And there's things that make the SL3S really tempting, but I don't know until I get my hands on one if it is worth getting rid of both my SL2 and my SL2S to have the one SL3S. If I'm being honest, I'm perfectly happy with my SL2 and my SL2S. I think that they are incredible cameras and they still hold up even though they're about 6 years old. So I'm hoping to get my hands on, well, an SL3 and an SL3S. Hopefully it doesn't take me as long to be able to get my hands on an SL3S as it has with the SL3. But I want to get my hands on it. I want to test it, use it in my shooting scenarios, and really see if these upgrades make a big difference or if it is just specs. One of the things that I know just from shooting on the SL system for years is that Leica cameras have a funny way of not really showing up on spec sheets like at the top, but it's the performance and it is the user experience that really unlocks this creativity that's inside of you. And so even though I'm a little bit underwhelmed with the specs of the camera, there's some things that I'm disappointed by. There's other things that I wish were on it that are not on it. I am still open to it because I just know that these are not going to be spec breaker cameras. They are going to be solid workhorse cameras. Will I be buying an SL3S now that it is released? Not yet. I'm pretty slow to upgrading my gear, and this would be a pretty big jump in I'd be giving up more than I feel like I'm gaining by getting rid of the SL2 and the SL2S for one SL3S. I'm tempted. It is a beautiful camera, but there's not enough in it from the spec side that's like, this is going to change the way that I shoot. And I've felt this way for a long time when it comes to cameras, because at a certain point, there's just not much more that's available to offer. You can only do so fast. I mean, 30 frames per second. If you're shooting sports and you have to use the Leica system, then the SL3S is a no-brainer. If you are shooting things that you require open gate all the time, it's a no-brainer. If you're doing anamorphic work, I feel like this makes sense. Although it doesn't have the anamorphic de-squeeze, maybe the S5-2X would be a better direction if you want to be in the L-mount system. But there's just not enough on it for me personally to want to make the jump and buy a $5,300 camera. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really does make a huge difference. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And if you want to support this channel, you can pick up my Lightroom presets, also linked down below. And I'll see you in the next video.